May the force be with you is a phrase used to wish a person well to overcome a challenge. The invitation in this podcast, May the life force be with you, is to explore what it means to truly feel alive, to appreciate the physical, emotional and spiritual connection to our energy, and finally to understand how this impacts who you are and all that you do. May this conversation inspire you to thrive. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever everybody's listening. I am Fiona.
I'm Kahreela.
And welcome to May the Life Force be with you. And this is a very special episode, as this is a wrap on season one. Season one, Kahreela, from this crazy idea we had sitting on the beach outside my house a year ago, to us recording over 80, I think it's going to be like 84 episodes, I think this is, by the time we wrap. Wow. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And
it's been pretty special.
May the life force be with you. And I swear each one of these episodes has activated me and sent me off onto more of my it's been such a current of my path. I'm really sad. I need the break and you need the break, but I'm also really sad that we're taking a break.
But it gives us the chance, to reflect, which is really important. You're in Australia, I'm in Australia right now as we record this wrap episode, and you're taking some integration time, and I need that too. And, May the life force be with you needs that as well. And, it's time for us to really listen to what you guys have enjoyed over the first season, everybody listening. And we thank you so much for all the comments that we get and support around the world from people that are just getting into it now. So don't worry if you're just listening to this going, oh, what do you mean it's a wrap? There's 84 episodes to go back and listen to. And also, I find there's some that I've listened to a number of times, because as you say, there is an activation, there's a learning, there's something that's come up that, even though we're having the conversation, sometimes is when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, yeah, that hit me somewhere, because, we're in it. And particularly when we have guests as well. And it's when I step back and kind of, I'm out on my walk and I'm listening to my podcast as I do, that things kind of drop in at different moments of what you need to hear, depending on where you are when you are listening on that journey as well. So there's definitely that activation happening, and some of the episodes will call to you at different times of what you need to hear as well, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like they are definitely worth re-listening to. And I've also started recommending them to people. When people have a thing come up, I'm like, oh, you should listen to this episode because the person we spoke to in this episode knows loads about this. And so I think they're also little useful references for.
Hey, we also had an episode banned, which I reckon is probably, we're obviously
that puts you on the podcast map, man.
So if anybody has not listened to Martin Gillespie and Metabolic Health BS, a state of our health, I wonder how because he's got his own episode, his own podcast series called, Metabolic Health, or the bullshit behind metabolic health. He mentioned his thoughts on vaccines, not COVID vaccines, but just vaccines in general, and how our health has been impacted over the years and decades. And that was basically the reference that he said. But because of that, we were taken down from YouTube, and we're actually on a 90-day notice, FYI. I had to go and set a course online about what's ethically correct so that we get let back into YouTube. So you can't listen to that episode on YouTube, but you can find it on Spotify and Apple and other places you can get your podcast. But that's just an example of, we are pushing some of the conversations with what we're talking about. And it's not about saying everything is wrong. This is our belief. We're creating an open space for people just to say what is important to them and how they feel and what they're guided to talk about. And it's not saying everybody has to follow everybody's similar, point of view, but it's important that we're open. It's important that we understand people's perspectives, that it's not just a one-track conversation. And, we don't always agree on things, and that's good. That's healthy. But it's something I cancel Kahreela from my life because I don't agree on one thing. We can all have different opinions, and that's why these podcasts and the people that generously give their time to join us, their voices are so important. And we create the environment that they can share.
And honestly, living in a world that is restricting freedom of speech is a very dangerous world politically to be living in. And that is why conversations, conversations is where the medicine happens. It's ironic that we got cancelled for a conversation about medicine.
Can't prove that there's, and I've spoken to people about that episode and they said, well, prove to me where's the medical evidence behind it? And I'm like, that's the whole point. That would be like turkeys voting for Christmas. They're not going to publish medical evidence that there's something like, no, but why do you go straight there? Why can't you go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should listen to that episode. But you immediately go to shut me down. That is the go-to. You're wrong. And I'm like, it's not even my opinion. I'm just sharing why my podcast is cancelled. But people don't like a challenge of a different perspective, because that starts to break down walls on, well, if that could be true, what else might be true? And people don't like that.
And also, if a system is going to great lengths to stop people from having information that they can use to make up their own mind, heart, and belly, you've got to ask why. You've got to ask why that system doesn't want freedom of information. What is it afraid of? Because, whenever freedom is being taken away, it's because of fear. And I think that system is afraid of the life force being with us. And I don't mean that from may the life force be. The system isn't afraid of our podcast.
Well, not like a conversation at the UN or something, no.
But it's afraid, you never know. But it's afraid of it's afraid of the power of agency being with us. It's tried to be the agent of our knowledge, our how to, it's afraid of us having our own agency.
And for me, what comes up with that as well is curiosity. If everybody is more curious and everybody is seeking to understand is not a bad thing. Like, just, but why? It's like a toddler's favorite word is but why, right? And we're born like that. That's the instinct in all little children, right? But why? And then we're just given kind of, we're almost cut down. Our curiosity is almost told to stop asking. And then we stop asking and we just kind of go, well, it's just the way it is. But why is it just the way it is? Why can't we keep going? But why? And it's not to say that everything is wrong and broken, although we've got lots of episodes on how broken the UK is, and it is. But it's that curiosity to understand, because even when we all think we're not controlled, which is really kind of funny, and but we are. We live in a system of control. We just do. And there's a difference, to my mind, between order. And I kind of like a bit of rules and order, because it gives people people need boundaries. So it's important that there are some boundaries, because it kind of creates a healthy society of respect and courtesy, and those kind of things to me are important, because and empathy and all of those things are a good society. But it's that over control, but then that's just my perspective of it. And who says what levels of the boundaries are right and wrong? And then it kind of creates a whole minefield where people go, too hard bucket to think about that. So I'll just get on with my life. But even getting on with your life, you're still beholden to rules.
And also, I think we've talked about this a few times before, but like when that law, LAW, goes against the LORE, it's going to create chaos, not order. Mm-hmm. Because the great order comes from law. It comes from like the birthrights of
root
nature.
word. We need a root word, Kahreela. We haven't had one for a while to kind of like.
I haven't got any root words at the moment.
Oh, I need to look. What, Laura? I love that. I love that flip. You know, we love a word play between law and law.
I mean, should we look up?
I'm going to look up
root word
of law. Knowledge or learning. I guess that makes sense. Traditional, all the knowledge of a particular group or having to do with a particular subject, especially that of traditional nature. Learning and teaching. It's made up of parts, me, learning and or teaching. There you go.
Whereas law,
something to be laid down which is fixed or set.
But law, it's connect. LORE means to learn.
Yes, it does. It does mean to learn. But so law comes from Old English, meaning sage, wise man, advisor, or counsel. As a lawyer. Sage, wise man, advisor, counsel. I feel like we might have moved away from sage in law. What do you think?
And also,
sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, folks.
But if you don't, I like this LORE. It's like the right to learn. Mm-hmm. If your freedom of speech is taken away from you,
knowledge.
If the law is controlling you to the point that it takes away your right to learn, it's against law. It's against LORE, which is why all sentient beings are here, is to learn. Yeah. Because learning is growing and learning is living. And it's like, how can we have our right to learn taken from us? And why does YouTube get to tell us what we get to learn?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's wrong, like part of learning is being able to like make mistakes, right?
I was going to say, don't we say that we learn most from our mistakes?
Your mistakes make you.
Yeah.
So like how can the governmental law or YouTube, which like what authority, what sage is that?
On YouTube. Why is Andrew Tate allowed on YouTube and May the Life Force Be With You with Martin Gillespie is not? Like, how is that possible?
How is that possible? Because YouTube and the 1% that we speak about so much are trying to take away our right to learn. Because our right to learn is our right to life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's why Mother Earth is so forgiving. She, over and over, you're allowed to make as many mistakes as you need to make. And you don't get thrown out of life because that's what the law is here. So why does YouTube and
Do you know what? We've
Facebook.
mentioned them so many times in this episode. I bet this one gets banned as well.
Yeah, let in season 2. Let's try and get our whole season banned on you.
No, how can people?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the PR on that? The entire podcast is banned.
Let's not do that. What we will be bringing in season 2, everybody, is more guests to join us, and we're it's important that we do cover lots of different voices and opinions and perspectives and learnings and activations again in season 2. So we're going to be, we're taking a break from releasing episodes, but we're not taking a break from thinking about who we want to share with you next season. So, if you do have any thoughts, ideas, or there is topics that are really important to you that we maybe can deep dive in season 2, then please, write to us. May the life force be with you at gmail.com. Send us some messages through our YouTube channel. But, we're really excited to hear about what people have been impacted with so far. And everything from our amazing episode, The Salty Church with Zachary, that just went out recently, that was so heartwarming and funny. And, who thought we'd be on a podcast talking about sea shanties, Kahreela, all the way through to, I know Michael Gibson and Laurie Handler's episodes have been really popular with people, and Katie and Warren talking about, sex, love and relationships as well, been really impactful. We've enjoyed, so many, and Solara was a big impact. I loved Sam at Elements Festival. That was a really beautiful episode that led you to being at the Elements Festival in person. So there's so many podcast conversations that have created real life experiences for a lot of people, including us.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some amazing guests. I just have been blown away by what people are doing with their lives and their service, and how intelligent and passionate and full of life force they are. It's epic. It's amazing. I've loved it. I think what's been most amazing to me is how much the conversation has weaved. How much one episode has been relevant to another episode, and it's been so well timed that we've had that next guest on straight after the last guest, and so the conversation has just continued with a whole new guest. It's been,
how many times have we said, or we've been chuckling in the background going, oh my God, I can't believe we're talking about this, because we literally were just, it was mentioned, and it's like the continuation of the next level of conversation. So that has definitely happened a few times. I'm just kind of running through the timeline of all the different amazing conversations that we've had, and we've covered, nature, animals, beauty, health, music, aliens. We've covered galaxies. We've covered it all, really, haven't we? Or have we? What can we what other elements can we add in? Lots more. Astrology, Marthello.
Tell us where you want us to go next. Start communicating with us. That's what I want to say in this closing of season 1, is if you like May the Life Force be with you, help us with help us in the ways that everybody knows is the ways to help, which is liking the YouTube channel, even though we don't like YouTube because they ban us. sharing the podcast, commenting, telling other people about it.
We like it.
Telling us what you want from us. Like, because all of that is creating energy.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I will say that, like, holding this podcast has been absolutely amazing, but it's been a huge amount of energy. We are taking a break because it's been a huge amount of energy. And, you know, it's your, if you like it, it's your podcast too. So help us create the energy around it and help us energize it so that next year we can have bigger named guests, even though we will still always follow our instincts on who's right for the show. We can have more of an audience so that
we can have more of our masterclasses as well, where everybody can kind of interact and engage and feel, the direct work of some of our guests as well. So we've done that throughout the year as well with our Lifeforce Cafe members, but we want to bring that to a wider audience next season. So do look out for some sessions that you can join directly. And I think also what might be nice in season 2, because I was harassing Kahreela regularly, everybody, is some channel sessions with you.
We never did it.
So really, everybody needs to experience your work because it's so profound and impactful and life changing. As I am, I'm not patient zero, but I've definitely been one of the people that have been impacted by your work along the way that's then changed how I work with other people too. So there's a beautiful ripple effect that happens when you change self, you change others. And I think it'd be really amazing to maybe do some of our work directly with people.
I would love to have your magic on the show. Because your magic's helped me many times, including in this podcast. Including it. That's one thing. Like, I never thought I was going to show up on this podcast as broken and battered at times. Do you know what I mean? I never thought so much laundry was going to be aired.
Well, that's hopefully what resonates, is that we are just being ourselves and our messy selves. And, we're not on here claiming to be perfect or sages at anything other than our lives, that we hope our honest and vulnerable sharing of resonates with people and can help them find their right direction or next steps as well. So, it's right that we show up knackered and burnt out and a bit frazzled, or with all the raw emotion that we do, because that is life. We're not pretending that it's any other way. Too many people pretend. Too many podcasts are out there pretending that everything's peachy and everyone, it's not. It's messy. And that's what makes it great.
My Lifeforce review is not pretending. I think I'd like to end by thanking all of the listeners, and thank you. It's been amazing in terms of, we can see that some people are really listening to every episode, and that's
all over the world. It amazes me. Every country.
That's so amazing to us. So it's such an honor that you're kicking to these crazy conversations or driving to them. Or, yeah, it's amazing. I would also really like to thank some of the people that are a bit behind the scenes. So Cash has been doing an amazing, amazing job from Seafoam Green Sounds of editing. And like, we are not easy to edit because there's always doors banging and
we're never in the same place at the same time. Our first 2 episodes we recorded in my bedroom with a shared mic. And then from about episode 5 onwards, we were in different time zones around the world. So we've been managing Wi-Fi situations, being in communal areas, like trying our very best to bring out 2 episodes a week, which is hard. And yeah, Kash has done an amazing job of cleaning all of that up and making sure that we get as best sound out to everybody as we possibly can.
Especially when sometimes it has been impossible.
And also because whenever we talk about anything controversial, the technology deliberately just tries to interrupt us. It's incredible, folks. Like whenever, and anything to do with the throat chakra, it literally used to switch me off, remember? Or anything about sexual trauma. I don't know, there's like something deep in my past that we need to talk about in an episode. But the amount of times my mic or tech would just stop working. It was incredible.
And I'd really love to thank Priska as well, who just is a mate. Like, she is the left brain in Starlight's world, and honestly, she does so much of the actual making the pieces come together, and it's just
She helps us work with our guests, which we should also obviously massively thank as well for our guests who've taken the time out of their days and lives to join us and have a conversation.
The guests have been really, 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 they've brought so much in so many ways, and like they've been so up for it and so
trusting.
Wonderfully trusting.
We have vulnerable conversations, and how many times do we say, the two of us, I can't believe we're talking about this on a podcast, and then our guests will come on and go, I had no idea I was actually going to say that. I've never said it out loud, or I've never shared that, or this is something I don't normally talk about, but we just, hopefully create that environment where people feel comfortable to go to places that they don't normally. And that speaks to this podcast and, what we want to share with people.
I'd also really like to thank my soul sister, Mary, because she has actually she was meant to come on this podcast and she couldn't come into one. Hopefully she'll come on to season 2, but she was actually featured in many of the podcast episodes because she was such a huge part of like helping all that happened in Egypt happen. And like some of my personal favorite episodes, because they were so personal to me, that those experiences, just including the rescuing of Egypt and Egypt becoming the fairy tale that it was, and the required reverb, and just there were so many episodes where I was like referring to my friend. And I was like,
making me reflect back on like the year that we had. Like I did ayahuasca in that time, remember? Like I hadn't even been and done that. That was this time last year. That's insane. Like the journeys that we've been on. You know who else we should thank is Kat, my friend Kat, because it was her that actually listened to the two of us chatting away on the beach one day last July and said, I could listen to you guys all day. You should do a podcast. And we were like, so thank you, Kat, for the initial seed that was planted as well.
Yeah. I just want to say that like that meeting on the beach in front of your house was to discuss corporate workshops. I love that this is what came out.
Like not trying to second guess everything, stepping out of your comfort zone, finding a way to get your message across. There's more than one route. Maybe that's the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. So yeah, that's funny, isn't it?
Like even the podcast is uncorporate.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how life leads you in different directions? But you got to follow it. The last person I'm going to thank is you, obviously, because I can't do this without you. And you have taken me on some journey, my friend, into places that I never thought. I feel like I'm your like straight sidekick, like to the funny man, to the, the Laurel to the Hardy, or whichever way around it is. And I didn't mean it like that, the straight man, but maybe I did. You know what I mean?
You are the straight one of the two.
And you've opened my mind to be curious more, and to, it's really important that that's how we show up. And so thank you for making me show up and stepping out of my comfort zone and bringing this into my life. And I really appreciate and love you. So thank you for doing that.
Well, I was going to say that the person that I most want to thank is you, because I have absolutely adored sharing this conversation with you, and been so truly grateful for the light and the wisdom and the strength and the comedy, because you are very, very funny, straight man.
Oh God.
And the willingness to go in new directions, and also to anchor it back down when it gets completely unground. It's been amazing to work with you, and I feel so honoured and so grateful and so delighted by this journey. It's one of the favourite things in my life, and it's because of the chemistry and that is not said as a lesbian. It's because of the chemistry that I have, that I have with you, and I think that the one thing that so many people say to me is how much they love us. Whatever weird combination we bring.
People would not put us together like 6 years ago, whenever it was that we first met. Can you imagine?
I know. The other thing they say that they love is your voice. They're like, I love Fiona's voice. They're like, Fiona's voice is made for this. I love Fiona's voice.
Everyone loves an accent. It served me well. So no, it's been phenomenal, and but all good things come to an end. But this is only a brief pause. It's not an end. It is just a closing of season 1, to give us a chance to recharge our life force energy. So I guess I'll see you next back in the UK when we're both back there.
Have an amazing time in Australia.
Thank you. I'll have been a few other places by then, but we can talk about that in season 2. Until then, lots of love, everybody.
We hope this conversation has topped up your life force energy. If it has, then please help us spread the life force. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. And may the life force be with all of us.